Hi everybody, welcome back to plot. The rain's finally stopped at last. We've got a little bit of sunshine. We're focused for some thundery showers tonight over the northeast. So I think I'm going to crack on a couple hours inside the tunnel and get some little jobs done that I've been trying to get for the last couple of days. Fortunately, me and Roger managed to get our onions lifted on Sunday, and these are, of course, Japanese onions, overwinter onions. Another fantastic crop again, well worth trying. As I say, we grow them every year, so we've never had any complaints. These are red electric. So what will happen with these, we'll pop them away and just into the trays and let them dry out in there for a couple of weeks before we string and hang them up. Another good onion we like to grow every year, and we're always going to fantastic crop out of them is sensu yellow. As I say, we'll grow these every year and we'll get a really worthwhile crop out of them. We always like to follow potatoes with these. We always think there's still plenty of nutrients in the soil after we've had potatoes in. That's our main crop, of course, and we always like to follow these. And then in the spring what we like to do is interplant with a couple of rows of carrots in between Japanese onions, which gives us protection from the carrot root fly. It works well for us every year, and as I say, we like to stick to that regime. So I'm going to pop these down for the moment and just carry on where I left off the other day with the garlics. I've managed to get the garlics all cleaned up. As I say, they're nice and clean there now, and all we have to do is just go around them and take off some of the loose skins. As they dry down, a lot of the papery skins become much easier to shift, and they're nice and clean, light brushing off, and within a week or two they'll be all ready for storing. So that's them, that's great, we're well pleased with them. One of the other things I was trying to explain to you was, if the garlics don't have a cold spell, you'll end up with a single bulb, and that of course is a single bulb. As I say, it's not much use to us. It's okay for cooking, but you're going to have to use a bulb straight away, all in one go. Whereas we prefer to break the cloves up into single cloves and use them that way. Now what we're going to do with these, we've got about 6 of these that never split, so we're going to use these for stock plants for next year. So around about September time we'll be planting this in our own compost in a nice big 12-inch bucket, and we'll keep it in there for a year, possibly 2 years. We'll hope to get a seed from it next year. We'll let it a good scrape, we'll let it go to seed, we'll cut the head down, and we're hoping to get bulbils from that for the plant the following year. So we'll see how that goes, but we'll take you through that stage as we come. As I say, we use our own compost, which is basically 3 of compost, of multi-purpose compost, 2 of good garden soil, or our own compost that we use, 1 of sharp sand and 1 of horse manure. And to this we like to add a couple of good handfuls of bone meal. But this of course is in our cement mixer, and it's a perfect size, perfect mix for us, and we normally end up with about a dozen big 10-inch potfuls out of one mix. Of course a lot of you people will not be using the mixes that we make, so what I'll do is I'll refine it down to the size, and I'll let you know at a later date about the mixes and the sizes and the compost. Okay, so that's that out of the way. Another job I want to get out of the way tonight, of course, I want to do a bit of work on the peppers. As I say, we'll grow a selection of them every year. Chilies, hot, medium, some red peppers, green peppers. So if you want to perk up your peppers, well, this is the time to do it. They're well grown now. These are our jalapenos. I'll just pan round the camera for a second and just let you have a look at these, because they really are growing well. I'm really pleased with these this year. They're starting to fruit away, and so it's now the time to do a little bit of work on them. This again is for our own compost. As with all our peppers and chilies, we'll put them in pots. Same with tomatoes. We like to try and get them get them in as quick as we can. I like to set mine off around about February time, end of February, beginning of March, because as you know the peppers are a long growing season. So once we get them grown, we like to get them into pots as soon as we can. So now they've been in these for about 2 months, so it's a perfect time to start feeding. As I say, our own composts are really rich, so it's fed these right up until now. They've had no extras. There's some lovely fruits coming on in now, some jalapenos. A good handful of seaweed or bone meal around the tops of them. A bit of extra feed. And what I like to do now is this time of the year is just to get a litre of warm water and a spoonful of Epsom salts and just give them a good dousing. Just adjust that spray a little bit. Of course, the Epsom salts, magnesium, giving them a foliar feed through the leaves, and it really does give them a well-deserved boost. They'll take all that moisture in and through our leaves, they'll take our Epsom salts in, the magnesium, and they'll help with the production of extra flowers, and of course give a great boost to the fruits. I like to give them a really good soaking. And you can do this about once a month with the Epsom salts, or you can alternate Epsom salts one fortnight and some seaweed or bone meal the following fortnight. Don't overdo it. If you tend to get a little bit burn on the leaves or a little bit brown dieback, it could be down to a bit of scorch, fertiliser scorch. So as I say, don't be too heavy on them. Just give them a nice good drink, really soaking all the leaves. They'll take all that goodness in. Really good drink, and that'll boost them to no ends. It'll help with that, help a lot with their fruits. As I say, they'll probably put a few extra fruits on, double in size. So they've had a really good drink of Epsom salts. As I say, a feed of seaweed around the roots, wash it in, and they'll be fine. As I say, just keep an eye on them. If you do get a little bit scorching on the leaves, a little bit brown, let's say, you might be just overdoing the fertilisers. So just cut back on the fertiliser and just water as normal. As with all other plants, we like to give a good drink with horse manure water. That doesn't do them any harm. It, as I say, it keeps them nice and fresh. There's plenty of that fertiliser you can use. You can get a basic fertiliser from the shops. You just add to the water your tanks, feed them that 50-50, that'll be fine. Apart from that, they should be okay. The fruit's well set on them now, there's plenty on them. So we're well pleased with that. And we'll just let them grow away now, quite happily for the next couple of weeks until the fruit's set. Hopefully we'll get some nice chilies, some jalapeno chilies off them this year. They're looking great so far, I'm really pleased with them. Right, so that's another job out of the way. What I want to do now is get back down to them strawberries. As I say, it's been raining for the last 3 days here in the northeast, so I've never really gotten much done outside, but what I have managed to do is to concentrate on our main crop strawberries and get most of the runners taken from there. So we're well set up for next year. So I'll take you down and we'll have a little look around the tunnel to see how we're going. Okay? Right, well, welcome back. We'll just pop up here and just have a little look at what I've been doing the last couple of days while the rain's been pouring down. These are our now second year strawberries. These are the baskets that we had in this year. They've been well cropped and of course they've been giving off loads of runners for. So well pleased with that. As I said the other night, a well mix of good sharp sand and multi-purpose compost is fine for these. That's all we need. You don't want anything too strong. All we want to do is to get these rooted into these smaller pots, and as soon as they're rooted, I'll be knocking them out of them and put them in our own multi-purpose compost that we'll make up ourselves. And of course, just a little note on that, when I made the last video I said they would be going into 9-inch square pots. Well, of course, yeah, that's my mistake, sorry. It should have been 9cm pots, which is a lot easier, and then they'll sit in the 9cm pots all summer up till the end of August, beginning of September, when we'll start the baskets off all again. These will all be turned out, and these will become our second year plants, which will go into the buckets. At the moment I've thrown off quite a few runners. I'm quite happy with them. I've got about 60 down here for now, and I'm sure I would say we can get another 30. Of course, we're having 30 baskets times by 3. It's easy enough. We need at least 90 runners just to start with. So I'm quite pleased with the way they're looking. They're nice and healthy. We pulled all the dead leaves from them, all the old fruit and stalks, and of course taking our runners. So I'm well pleased with them. These will come outside. Of course, we're in the lower tunnel. As I say, we've got the nets on, so there's plenty of fresh air coming through. They're not too hot. And once these are rooted, they'll go outside on the tables and they'll sit there right through the summer until the back end of the year, when I need them to start potting up the new baskets for next year. So I'm well pleased with that at the moment. Well, sweet corns, well, the silks are on now. As you can see, they've run away. They're taller than me now. Absolutely fantastic. Another great crop again. I'm well pleased with these. As I say, the silks are on now, so all these we really need now is just to tap them, as we do it for tomatoes. And you can see the pollen coming down, which in turn will pollinate the young cones that's coming on the bottoms there now. I'm well pleased with them. Well, butternut squash has done fantastic. Or just about covering the bottom of the floors. A bit too much, because some of the beans are struggling to come through in the light. But the peas are well on their way up there. Of course, it's the Three Sisters. So it seems to be working quite well. I'm pleased with that. As I say, the cones are well above my head now. So all we need to do is to work our way down, just give them a good tapping, and get all that pollen down onto the bottom. It really is a satisfying job, just taking your time. Reminds me of Paul Newman film, shaking off your boss into the cone. Of course, the old Papillon. Anybody who hasn't seen that, well, good classic film. And there we are. We've been right down one row. I've got a middle row to do tomorrow. I can just take my time, going through it, giving them a good shake, and getting all that nice pollen down onto the young combs. They're just starting to set up there now. Actually, beautiful looking plant, just with the young ones on there. Absolutely marvellous. They'll pick all that pollen up, and then within a few weeks we'll have some nice cones, sweet corn combs starting up. I'll be well pleased with that. But yes, this tunnel's done really well this year. To see we've had a big leaks in there, more onions, so yeah, everything's going well. Right, okay, so we're outside now. These were last year's second year pots that we took out the big tunnel, and what I've done, I've potted them into the black pots now, so next year will be their 3-year pots, and then they'll go from there. They'll be finished with. But at the meantime, they're still throwing out some runners, so if I'm short from the first year plants, I can always take a few runners from them. They're really looking healthy at the moment, but these will sit here all summer. All they need is just a watering. If they dry out, nothing else. Got our own compost in these, and that's quite enough to sustain them right through the summer. As you can see by the colour. We'll just keep our eyes on them in case they start trying to set any flowers. That's one thing we don't want. Taking the goodness out of the plant, because it'd be worthwhile trying to get another crop out of these this year. So we're quite happy to let them sit here all summer. Right, now these baskets, these are the ones that we haven't taken runners from. As I say, we've cleaned them right back, and I tilted on the side. Well, it's for a good reason, is because there's no holes in these. We don't put any holes in our bags. Once they're inside the tunnel, we can control the watering, control the feeding, and give them exactly what they need when they want without any wastage, any seepage from the baskets whatsoever. So they never dry out. A couple of comments on the World of Fruit and Veg the other night about growing strawberries, and a young lady wondering how to water and when to water. Well, they're the easiest things to grow strawberries. Once they're inside, as long as they're nice and clean, bug free, and you can tell if they need a watering, because they will start wilting, but that's easily remedied by giving them a good soaking, a good feeding once a week, once we start feeding, and then once we start in the fruiting, we'll feed them twice a week, and they're really easy to look after, and that's undercover in the polytunnels. So, as I say, these will be tipped out in about a fortnight's time. I'm just letting them drain off here for the time being. I'll tip these out, and we'll get 3 strawberry plants out of each basket, and they'll go into and of course into the green buckets, which is down on the bottom there, and the white buckets. They'll go into all of them, and they'll be ready for potting up for second year ones for next year, and we should get a terrific crop off them again in the greenhouse. So looking forward to that. So I hope that's helped you with the strawberries. We're just going to have a little look up in here. That's another row of Japanese onions that we just managed to pull this afternoon. Me and Roger, while in between the showers. So what we'll do with these, we'll let them dry for a day or two, and then we'll start stripping all the old leaves off them, and then they can go into the baskets. Alright, I just want to show you how we're going on with our melons. As you can see, oh God, that's got to be £2, and they're just starting to take on that nice light colouring. So yeah, well pleased with them. Some lovely ones on. Really looking forward to these. What we're going to do next year, we're going to put them into the house that we built especially for the melons. That's just up there. It's a little hot house. It will no doubt we'll be able to double the amount of melons that will grow in there. But for this year, I'm quite happy having them on that back bench, and they're really growing away strongly. I'm only feeding once a week, so I'm well pleased with that. We're just giving them some manure tea at the moment. I've just put some more potash, some more leaves into the comfrey leaves into the barrel today. So hopefully in a week's time, that'll be ready for feeding with. Well, Moneymaker tomatoes, well, they're just galloping away. Absolutely galloping away. Really pleased with them. There's a couple at the front there, just starting on the turn there. So within a week's time or a fortnight, Roger's really pleased with these Spanish ones because he loves them. They're absolutely fantastic. Really nice crop them. So yeah, no doubt we'll be growing them again next year. Take a few seeds from them. But as I say, Moneymaker, they're not worth keeping the seed. Just a fresh packet, a new packet every year. Good British variety. And there's a couple there just on the turn there. So well pleased with that. No doubt in a week's time, as I say, in a fortnight's time, yep. A couple there just on the turn. Really looking forward to them. Fantastic crop. As I say, I like to go around the trusses and just nip away any of the little ones that's on the ends of the trusses, because any little premature ones, and you'll always end up, like there's a couple there, they'll get cut off tomorrow. You'll always end up with some really tiny little tomatoes on the end that never turn into anything decent. There's a couple of trusses I've missed, so I'll go back through them in a week's time and just cut away. We've stopped these ones because we thought 6 trusses and the amount of fruit that's on them, normally we let them go to about 8 trusses depending on the weather. But this week has been really cold up the northeast here. It's been wet every day. So I took it in hand to stop them and to make sure that we'll get all these fruits ripened off by the end of October, when the nights will really turn cold. So yeah, we're really pleased with the way them are going at the moment. And of course, our tumbling toms have just never stopped. We've been fruiting these from the beginning of June. Well pleased with them. Still plenty on them. As I say, we'll be feeding from these for the next fortnight, and hopefully by then our money maker will start ripening off. So we've done really well this year. Really pleased with them. Excellent tomato. So there's definitely one for the seed book for next year. I went online last night to look for some potatoes for next year, and unfortunately one of the sites I use, DT Brown, was sold out. So we'll have to go and look elsewhere for potatoes, but no doubt I'll get the computer out tonight. We'll not have to sit waiting for our catalogues like we used to at the front door, waiting for the letterbox to open. It's an easy job now. We can just pop online and put the company's name in, and you're away. You can get straight onto their website and pick whatever you want for the following year. It's always worthwhile going through their catalogues and just seeing some of the varieties that they have on offer. There's thousands there, absolutely thousands. But if you're like me, once you've been gardening for a few years, you tend to go back to the same varieties that you know are going to work for you. And of course, they're going to work for your environment, whatever environment you've got. Then yeah, that's the way to do it. If they work for you, get them again next year. There's nothing wrong with trying a few seeds. As I say, I like to try a couple of different ones every year. That's one of the American ones. I'm not going to grow them next year. They're the big American beefsteak. There's a couple of them coming on really well, but I'm just not happy with the final outcome of them. There's only one or two on the trusses. They don't seem to be very setting very well. So, as I say, that's one I've tried anyway, and it'll not come on next year. It'll be replaced by Alicante or Gardener's Delight, which I know are two good old favourites, which I've grown in the past. So, there we are. That's a walk through there. Let me know how we're getting on in the greenhouses. Next week, I want to start on some fruit. As I mentioned earlier, I'm going to be shifting one of the raspberry beds this year. Also, I've got to shift the rhubarb bed. Now, there was a couple of gentlemen on the same site wondering about how to shift rhubarb. Well, we'll be shifting the whole trench at the end of this year, or we'll be half in the trench and starting a whole new trench of rhubarb. It's been up there 5 years, so I think it's just about time we shifted it. Usually 5 to 6 years. I think it's one of them fruits that's just sadly overlooked. People tend to throw it in the corner of a garden, or throw it on one of the waste pits or rubbish pits, back the shed, back the greenhouse, down the side of the fence, anywhere but a decent place. And of course, rhubarb, if you give it a good start in life, a good bed, and it'll reward you no end to a good 5-6 years before you have to dig up and split it and change again. But yeah, it's a worthwhile crop. So in the coming days, I'm going to get the camera set up and we're going to have a look at some rhubarb and the raspberries. But for the time being, as I say, I've got a little bit of work to do in the greenhouses tonight, so I'm going to leave you with a final picture of our moneymaker toms that come on really great. So if you like it, well, like, or we'll be pleased if you would subscribe. So thanks again from Jeff and Roger on the plot. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.